Hello, family, and welcome to another episode of Role Model Makers Experts Cafe. I'm your host, Dr. L, the Parent Whisperer. And today with me, I have an amazing lady, Miss Carisa Cole Sharett. Did I say everything right?
You did.
Very cool. Awesome. I feel accomplished now.
I feel like you are too. Those are not easy
Thank you.
names. So,
Carissa has been an amazing member in our family serving community, and her topic is pretty important, and I think it needs to be on your radar. So here she is. Thank you, Carissa, for being here and taking time out of your busy schedule to be here. And audience members, of course, thank you for tuning in. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you do and why you do what you do, and we'll go from there.
yeah, thank you so much for having me here, Dr. L, and to all your audience. Thank you so much for joining us. So, I am a parent and caregiver coach, and my passion is empowering living in families that have children with disabilities or other special needs. And so, my passion is to help particularly the moms who are the glue of our families most of the time, right? To have a strong foundation for leading and living that empowered life and family so that everyone in the family is benefiting from that. The reason why this is so near and dear to my heart, Dr. L, is because for the last 16 years, I have been on a journey with my youngest son, who's now 19, Liam. He is an amazing guy, awesome friend maker, but he also was diagnosed with autism at age 3. And he is someone that's going to need support and help and care for the rest of his life. And so as I was on that journey over the last 16 years, there were so many twists and turns and ups and downs. And back in those dark ages, there wasn't a lot of help for parents in general, not help with how to help your child, what they need, what they don't need. Now there's a lot more help for parents on what type of services to get for your child, what kind of help they need. For the disability that you're facing, where do you get that help and where are the resources? But Dr. L, there still is not a lot of help for the parents, especially the primary caregiver, which often is the mom. How do we prepare ourselves for this journey, for this lifetime of care in one way or another? I mean, as moms, we do that anyway, right? As parents, we're always parents, but as someone who's caring for someone that's going to need lifelong care, how do we prepare ourselves? And so that's why I started Bravely Intentional Life and created the Empowered Mom Blueprint.
I love it. Thank you for what you do. And when I was in private practice, that was pretty much all that I worked on, children that were neurodiverse. So I totally get it. And here's the thing, like at the beginning, I mentioned that this should be on every parent's radar, not just the parents with special needs. The reason I say that is because the moment that you separate yourselves, like, well, this doesn't apply to me, parenting is a community effort, and all parents, they instinctively understand if you're on the playground and something happens to a kid, you're kind of paying attention, making sure somebody takes care of that, right? So special kids or not, we are all in this together. And when it comes to these special circumstances, and it's not just let's say autism spectrum disorder, it could be a disability, it could be a handicap, whatever it happens to be, the issue becomes that all of a sudden the focus of support is for the general population, and it's easy for us to forget that there's this group that has these other special needs, meaning that things that actually will make their life operate normally, basically. And so I really appreciate you bringing that support, bringing that awareness, not only to the community at large, but also more specifically providing it for the moms that are right in the thick of it. So thank you.
Thank you.
So going through this, I've seen moms are tenacious, and it's just unbelievable what they're capable of, especially when it comes to the needs of their children. And like you said also, that they're the glue, but something needs to hold this glue together as well.
Yes.
And they oftentimes forget about themselves. So that's one of the huge challenges, because you can't give from an empty cup. And I know that. What are some of the other challenges that you see parents facing when they're coming to you?
Yeah, that's probably the number one thing, is that they've lost themselves. They don't know who they are anymore because they've given everything to everybody else. And when I tell the moms that work with me is that you can't be for someone else what you refuse to be for yourself. And so you have to be your own hero. You have to be your own caretaker first before you can help anyone else. And that type of losing yourself leads into things like isolation, disconnection from people around you, just sort of this confusion in your life. You're kind of aimless. Another huge issue with parents that I work with is generally the grieving process. They don't feel like they're allowed to grieve the losses that they're experiencing by raising a child that has disabilities or special needs. And that is such a huge lie that we tell the parents. It's okay to grieve. And in fact, if we don't grieve, we're not able to move forward into that hope-filled future. And so all these things working together really get people stuck. It gets them frozen. It gets them overwhelmed and not able to manage life. And then that leads to a lot of hopelessness. And so in my practice with working in the education system, I worked with primarily middle school and high school children and parents. And at that point, people are so worn out, they're not even sure that they can come back from that. And that's really what we want to avoid, because if we're not here to help our family, who's going to take care of that person? Right. There's going to be another dilemma of there's no people to take care of our adults and children with special needs or disabilities. And then we're going to go back to having to institutionalize if we're not careful. So we have to take care of ourselves.
Those are really important points. Yeah, I had seen it, but you have expressed it in a very profound way, and in a way that actually affects the emotional well-being of an individual as well. That was really beautifully said. Yeah, I've seen it where the couples, the parents, the mom is coming in, and you can sense it. There is tensions in the spousal relationship. There's tensions in the parenting. There's tensions in the finances, and it impacts and spills into all facets of life. And we need to acknowledge and be aware of it. So now, that being said, what are some of the challenges? Because also we are a victim of our habits too. So what are some of the things that we also inflict on ourselves that could be challenges that we have to overcome when we are that parent?
So there's I live my life by 4 key words, and that's what I teach to the parents that come to me. And those things are living with courage, living with intention, living with connection, and living with hope. And with each one of those are things we can do to improve our lives, the lives of the people around us, and the outcomes that we're looking for. So first, encourage, we're looking at taking that look at ourselves in the mirror. Where are we right now? And just being really honest with ourselves and facing it. Sometimes it's just really hard to face where we're at. We try to hide. We try to hope it goes away. And it's really about facing where we're at and accepting it, and then forgiving ourselves for what we didn't know how to do better in the past or even right now, and moving forward. So that's one area where we can help ourselves move past our roadblocks. In intention, it's that when we don't have some type of vision and plan for our family and our future, we're just aimlessly walking around, hoping things get better. We don't have any type of plan. And yes, plans need to be flexible, Dr. L, but without any vision and without any plan, we're just not going anywhere. And so I talk about getting past that stumbling block. In connection, one of the biggest, I guess, complaints that I hear is that I just feel so isolated and disconnected from people. Well, part of that is our responsibility as parents of those children and adults that have disabilities or special needs. We have to learn how to help people interact with us better. We have to help people learn how to support us better. And so that's a roadblock we face there. And then in hope, we're not doing things to create hope in our life. we need to be able to participate in our community of people that support us. We have to participate, and in giving hope to other people is where we get that hope back. And so that's just a few of the roadblocks we face that we can work on.
I love it. I love it. It's quite chic, no pun intended on the acronyms there. But very cool. One other question that I have for you is, when a child is born, usually the demands and the needs are huge, right? Because they can't take care of themselves. So oftentimes the parents are not getting sleep, and they're not getting to do anything other than care for this little being. So at what point do you think is a good time for a mom to say, okay, you know what? I need this time to go ahead and focus on me, or focus on the situation, or whatever it is.
I think you got to start that before that child is born. You have to set up a routine of doing that. And with your partner or the person that you're raising that child with, even if you're a single parent, you need to find some support so that you can get that time. And, you know, a lot of times people think of self-care as, you know, going to the gym or getting your nails done, or going to the spa. And really, self-care has 4 core areas, which are physical self-care, mental self-care, emotional self-care, and spiritual self-care. You need to take a look at all of those and work on things that help you connect in those areas and refill you. It's not just about having some time off to do something fun. It's really reconnecting with those parts of your being and filling them up so that you can do the job that you're called to do, so that you can fulfill your mission. Because when you're depleted, there is no mission fulfillment, right? Your baby's screaming and you're screaming. And
Right.
so you have to make that plan even before the child is born. And if you haven't done that, do it quickly and find people to support you. There are people willing to support you. You just have to be willing to ask.
Absolutely. Role modeling that behavior is actually very critical for the kids to learn how to find support, nurture themselves, so on and so forth. So we got to be good role models on that. Absolutely. So what would be the one tip that somebody watching this, I know there's been so many things that we've already discussed and mentioned, but what would be the one thing that would be the takeaway, the one thing that would be most important if they're watching this to implement into their lives so they can move their family to a better place?
So I think the first one for me is just have the courage to take a look at yourself in the mirror, to take a look at your life, and to figure out if this is what you're okay with for the rest of your life, right? Be willing to have the courage to change.
Mm.
Be willing to have the courage to take that hard look and say, I don't want to be like this anymore. I did that several years ago. I looked in the mirror at age 40 and said, oh no, this is not how I want the next 40 years to look. And once we're able to accept and understand where we're at, then and only then are we able to find the tools and use those tools to move forward.
Awesome. Well said. And how can people connect with you? Because this is, of course, just the tip of the iceberg. So I'm pretty sure there's a lot more. So how can people learn more about you and connect with you? Go from there.
Sure. Yeah. So the best place to find me is at my website. It's www.bravelyintentionallife.com. Again, that's www.bravelyintentionallife.com. And there you can connect with me by scheduling a free consult with me. You can check out some of the free resources that I have there. I have information on the different types of services and programs that I provide. And I have a way for you to sign up for my newsletter and get some extra tips and tricks that I have in my bag through email once a month.
I love it. Thank you so much for offering it. I've taken a look at it. It's quite extensive. So audience members, I highly encourage you to go to the description box. I've put all of that information there. Check it out. Connect with Carisa. Role model the behavior that we need to connect. We are social creatures. We need to connect. It's okay for us not to have all the answers. And there are people in the world genuinely interested in the betterment of the world and supporting us. and then we need to be able to reach out and connect, and for our kids to learn how to do that. And if you haven't already done so, make sure you click subscribe so you get notifications for all the experts that come here, share their expertise, gifts, and passions with you, like Carisa has, and make sure that you go ahead and get those notifications. Carisa, thank you so much for shedding light on this important topic. Family life is so multifaceted. I interview people like all day, and I'm just amazed by it. Truly takes a village to raise a child,
Yes.
and we need to all connect together. And thank you for what you do. Any final words of wisdom for our audience members before we finish?
Just want to thank everybody again for being here, and hope to see you on my mailing list and being able to connect with you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Cheers.